The Perfect Neighbor, a tale of deception and darkness. Maggie Turner was the picture of kindness, always smiling, always helpful, and always just a little too perfect. She baked cookies for the neighbors, volunteered at the local shelter, and never seemed to have a bad day. People in the quiet town adored her, never suspecting the darkness lurking beneath her serene exterior. But Maggie had a secret, a terrible, terrible secret. It all started years ago, when she was just a teenager. Maggie's first victim was a man who'd been harassing her family. She'd invited him into her home, offering tea and a smile. They talked for hours, and when the conversation turned to him threatening her mother, Maggie's smile didn't falter. Instead, she poisoned his drink, her hand steady as he took the last sip. She waited for the panic to rise in his eyes as the poison took effect, but all she saw was his body slumping quietly into the chair. By the time anyone discovered his death, Maggie had already moved on to the next. Since then, her killings had become almost routine. No one suspected a thing. In fact, people often remarked on her angelic nature, her ability to stay calm in any situation. When an elderly woman was found dead in her home, no one thought to look closer at the woman who had been visiting her daily, bringing soup and fresh flowers. Maggie's outward kindness was her mask, the perfect disguise. She never used weapons, no blood, no mess. She didn't need to. Maggie knew the way to kill without leaving a trace. A few words of comfort, a warm smile, and the right dosage of poison. One evening, a new couple moved into the house next door. They were young, friendly, and eager to make new friends. Maggie welcomed them with open arms, bringing them a basket of homemade bread and jam. As they sat on the porch laughing, Maggie's eyes gleamed with a new, dark excitement. "I'm so glad you moved here," she said, her voice honeyed. "I think we're going to get along wonderfully." And she meant it, just like she meant all the others. But Maggie didn't realize something this time. The woman she had invited to tea had a curious streak. When she noticed Maggie's unblinking smile and the strange, almost predatory gleam in her eyes, she made a mental note to do some research. The next day, Maggie heard the familiar sound of sirens outside. The new neighbor had been found dead in her home, the cause of death undetermined, but suspicious. It didn't take long for the authorities to start asking questions, especially when they found traces of a rare, almost untraceable poison in the woman's system. Maggie simply smiled when they came to question her. Of course, she had nothing to hide. She was just a kind, helpful neighbor after all. She couldn't possibly have anything to do with the death. The police left without any suspicions, their minds clouded by the charm and warmth that Maggie exuded. No one suspected a thing. After all, Maggie was so nice. And that was exactly how she liked it. If you have watched this to the end, please subscribe. It only takes a second and doesn't cost a thing. See you on the next one.